The Philippines will change you. And I'm going to give lots of advice, especially to newcomers, people who've never been here to the Philippines before. Along the way, I'm sitting down on Mango Avenue, Mango Square at a bus stop. And this whole video is just sitting, watching people, watching jeepneys and buses and traffic come and go through here. I've reduced the volume quite a bit, so hopefully my voiceover will come through pretty clear. Uh, the building just right center there is a 55-story Horizon 101. Just give you some idea where I'm at. The area behind me to the left is Mango Square, kind of a block square area with, used to be mostly bars, but a number of years ago they shut down a lot of the bars, most of them, and a few have been coming back. We've got a couple in here, but fast food places mostly right now, with a laundromat behind me. Across the street on Mango Avenue, actually this avenue is, the official name was changed, I think back about the time of World War II, to General Maxilome Avenue. But even on some maps, you'll still see it listed as Mango Avenue. Used to have a lot of mango trees here. Across the street is what's called, and this is Cebu City, Cebu, the Philippines, uptown area. Across the street, we're looking at Mango 1, or 1 Mango. Over there's a number of restaurants, and used to be a couple bars, like 3 bars back in there. And then moving over here to the right, it's called Mango 2. And there's a bar, Indian restaurant, a couple fast food places. Anyway, there are options to eat and to drink. Anyway, get back to the topic. The Philippines will change you, especially if you stay here long term, or even if you're a tourist. It's a new experience, it's a new culture. A lot of people speak English, but it's a different English. They've got some different letters in their alphabet. They pronounce a lot of the letters differently. So even though they speak differently, you'll find some misunderstanding, some confusion sometimes. And it's not a bad idea to ask, do you understand? Do you understand what I just said? Because they don't want to lose face and say that they don't understand. Oftentimes ask for you to repeat it, and especially if you're in a store, very easy for them to say out of stock, or no, we don't have that item, and it's because they don't understand, and they don't want to be embarrassed by saying that they don't understand, so we're out of stock. Anyway, these jeepneys, over the last few years, they've been replacing some of the jeepneys, a lot of the jeepneys, with newer, more fuel-efficient buses, but long ways to go. And a lot of people don't want to get rid of all of them. It is part of the charm of the Philippines. They did get rid of most of the ones that were very badly polluting, belching out the black smoke. But occasionally you'll see one of those as well. Advice number 1, come here with an open mind. I still have a couple of friends that have lived here over 10 years that in America we do it like this, and a little bit arrogant at times in certain situations. Come here with an open mind. The Filipinos are very welcoming, they're tolerant, they're friendly. For the most part, there are parts of the Philippines you shouldn't be in, like southwest Mindanao, not a real safe place to be at. But I find that, and I read a lot of news over the last, I've been here a little over 9 years, and read a lot of news in the morning and the evening, Philippine news, international news. My observation is that there may be a lot of Filipino on Filipino crime, but very little Filipino on foreigner crime. Crime that exists is non-violent. Pickpockets, generally. Scams, possibly. Do you know who you're talking to? You might be talking to a scam center. They're really good at separating you from your money. And there's thousands of scam centers in the Philippines, and some of them have been shut down. They moved to Myanmar, other countries as well. Your experience is going to be different than my experience. I suggest the next tip is when you get here, do a bit of traveling, because it's easy. What happened to me in Cebu City area is big enough to keep you busy and entertained. And I didn't do any traveling for, I think, gosh, even over 6 months before I finally went to Bohol and Dumaguete over the following year. And I suggest that you travel soon after you get here, visit a few places. Every place is, I've had somebody mention that once you've seen one Filipino town, you've seen them all. Well, I disagree. Each one has its own personality. I occasionally get some very negative, I don't get very many, not very often, I occasionally get very negative comment about the Philippines. And I suspect that that person came here and had a very bad experience romantically, monetarily. He got scammed by somebody. Some people will go on and on and on about the pollution and this and that and the other thing. Well, yeah, there's pollution all over the world, and you don't like to see any of that. And even me, I've been here over 9 years, 3 different trips, and still, I can say that it's cleaner than when I first came in 2015. A lot of the roads and sidewalks, but there's still that. Those that just throw their trash wherever. They're not making excuse for them. There are not a lot of trash bins around, even in the malls originally. If there were trash bins, they were overflowing, so they weren't maintained regularly. And sometimes I still see that in some of the malls. The next tip is bring tissue. If you go to they call bathrooms, toilets, they call them CRs, comfort rooms here, CR. And oftentimes, depends on where you're at, in the more expensive hotels and such, and I'm seeing it a little bit more in the malls, but not always, there will be no paper. There will be no toilet paper. There will be no soap to wash your hand. There will be no tissue to dry your hand. Towels. If there are like an air dryer, a lot of times it's out of service, not working. If there is a receptacle for towels, it's often not stocked. It's out of paper towels, and that's usually in only the nicer hotels and places. So yeah, I always carry. And if you go to a restaurant, you get these very thin pieces of tissue, what they call tissue, not napkins. Napkins is considered like a feminine napkin. They're a little confused if you ask for a napkin and you're a male. So tissue, and yeah, you need a whole box of these flimsy little tissues they give you if you're eating something that might be a little greasy. And another thing, I rarely ate rice in America, and it would be when we would order in some Asian, some Chinese food or something, and some rice would come along with that. But here it's like right away at the hotels you stay at. Your breakfast, unless you have a breakfast buffet, usually includes rice. Sometimes they might have an option for something else, and if you get an egg, it's usually 1 egg. It's not 2 eggs. So if you want an extra egg, that's probably usually extra. Depends on what part of I hear that Bacolod City has quite a bit of brewed coffee places up in that area. But and over the years it's gotten better here in the Philippines, but it's difficult to find brewed coffee. I had to go to a 7-Eleven to find brewed coffee a number of times when I first came here, and I was kind of surprised that they had brewed coffee there throughout the day. Um, Even the places, McDonald's will have brewed coffee, but sometimes they will be out in the afternoon. Just, they don't, not that many people that order it throughout the day. Jollibee might have, depends on where you're at, might have brewed coffee in the morning. Probably not in the afternoon, has been my experience. My next advice is smile. Even if you're upset, you're in a situation where, for whatever reason, there's some confusion, you're not being able to get what you want, let's say a pharmacy or in a restaurant, trying to explain what you want, and smiles go a long ways here, and you smile at the Filipino, and getting angry and confronting Filipinos is you're just going to make things worse. It's not just Filipinos; it's an Asian thing. Saving face. They don't like to be embarrassed one on one, but especially in public, to feel like they have lost face, to be criticized. And I've seen it. I've seen a Chinese lady doing that to a cashier in a grocery store, and just very bad scene. Tip, and another way you will probably change is that protect your valuables. There are quite a number of pickpockets, especially during fiesta time and the high season. High season. When most of the tourists come, a lot of overseas Filipino workers come back to visit their family. Pickpockets, and they come to these towns. Cebu City has, I think they had about 4 million people participating in the Sinulog Festival in January. But yeah, the high season, basically November, December, January, February, March, a little bit of April. May is our hottest month. We're going into our dry season right now at the beginning of March, and we have had the last 3 months we have had more cloudy skies than average over the years, but yeah, anyway, if you're not careful with your valuables, the pickpockets will be happy to separate you from your valuables, your wallet, your money, your phones, jewelry, whatever. I've had 3 phones snatched. Two during the Sinulog. I got into just huge, crushing, packed crowds, and when I came out, I didn't have a phone. First time I didn't have a wallet either. I learned, and I didn't carry a wallet around crowds after that. But yeah, they're good. They come here and often work in pairs, 1 or 2 to get around you and distract you or bump up against you, and somebody else to get into your pockets or your bag. So be aware of that. Take precautions. Watch some videos about how to defeat the pickpockets. Their bags, certain types of bags, and place to store your money, that sort of thing. Another way it will change you, you will find you go into restaurants, any kind of food establishment and other types of establishments, restaurants in particular. And it's not like in the U.S. where they get tips and there's some motivation to serve you, take care of you. Here you pretty much have to flag them down. Just like you flag down a jeepney or a taxi, you stand by the road and you put your hand out. You raise your hand and you you move your hand around and wave them over to you when you want to order. You know, they may or may not bring you a menu. And when you want to bill, you gesture to them that you want to bill, because they won't. Generally, they won't. There are a couple places I've been at that have been trained in the quote-unquote Western style of service, that are attentive and do that. But generally, and I still have. I've got long-time friends here, from Australian, American, that still get upset in the restaurant that the waiter does not come over regularly and check to see if they need anything else to bring them the bill. I said, well, you're in the Philippines. That's not the custom. That's not the culture here. You need to wave them over. You know, you either change or you're angry. Put it that way. You probably aren't going to change. And I even helped train some. I acted as the customer at Traveler's Resto Bar many years ago. Just for a couple times, I'd come in, and after they were supposedly trained, the way to bring you a menu, bring you some water right away, ask if you want anything else right away, and then come back after a couple minutes. Are you ready to order? I did that, but you know, that lasted maybe a week or two, and they were back to you need to wave them down if you wanted something. So yeah, you can try to do it your way and just be angry and frustrated, or you can accept the way things are here in the Philippines. You might have some, and even, you know, with my girlfriend of 6 years now, you know, she's 25 years younger than me, and you know, I do some teaching of her, and she teaches me some Filipino ways. You know, the Filipinos do it this way, and well, in my culture, you know, I would like it done this way. I've mentioned in a different video, and you know, I've been single for a lot of years. I've had a number of married 11 years, single for most of the rest of my life. Had a number of relationships over that time, but never a live-in type situation. And I was in control of my kitchen and my house, and I'm independent, and I want to have a certain degree of control on that. Well, my girlfriend and some Filipino mentioned that Filipinos are in charge of the kitchen here in the Philippines. So if you bring your girlfriend to your country, you can be in charge. You can set down the rules. Well, no, that's not. We're going to compromise, and we've made some agreements on where we store certain things, but we still have. I'll be looking for something, and she changed where the cupboard that it's being stored in. So it's, you know, I accept it. I hunt around for, you know, 30, 40 minutes looking for something when I'm going to bake the bread. Baked a homemade bread here the other day, and I make stews like once a month, and she does a better job than me. I taught her about making stews, and now she's better than me at that sort of thing. So I wait until she gets a day off and let her do most of it. Now my girlfriend, you know, your girlfriend or your friends are going to have a big impact on your life here, what you're doing. And she's my third girlfriend, and the first two were pretty busy, worked all the time. My third one works quite a bit too, but we've got a growing relationship. And one nice thing I like about it is so many of these girls, all my friends tell me, you know, we'll be together having a drink or lunch or something, and they're getting texts, calls from their girlfriend. Occasionally I'll have a guy say, can I take a picture with you so my girlfriend, fiance, my wife knows I'm with you and not some other girl. But we've developed pretty good trust relationship, and some of these girls will just be constantly texting these guys. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? When are you coming home? Um, and I've never been that much into texting, and we don't communicate very much texting or calling at all, which is nice. We talk in the morning before she goes to work. We talk when she comes home, and when she gets days off. Occasionally, she can get off early, and we'll go shopping together or out to lunch together, dinner together. And anyway, those are relationship things that will obviously change your life. Depends upon. And then if you get involved with their family to different degrees, I've had friends that have become very involved with the families, and I've had friends that have had, even after 3 years, one of my friends never met the family. And the one guy had a relationship for 11 years, off and on. I think he only met the family a couple of times. In fact, the last time he was given the ultimatum, either marry my daughter or go away. And for a number of other reasons, he had wanted to take her to the USA, and that just wasn't working out because of a number of different things, taking nursing tests for the USA nursing, and some other issues that were involved there. But they finally broke it off. But the cost of living is a big factor, and you can live quite inexpensively here. 9+ years I've lived here, inflation has taken a bite out of my pension. Even though the exchange rate has gone up, most of that is eaten up by inflation, and I buy a certain percentage of imported goods. Go to SR, which is like a Costco here. Not as big as Costco, not as many different types of products. There's an assortment, a lot more Korean, Chinese, Japanese selections. There's Western style selections as well, but it's spread out. Their selections are spread out across the various cultures here. Koreans are the biggest number of tourists, although I think if you take all the Western countries are the biggest. The US, Canada, Britain, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. I think we comprise the biggest group, not the Koreans. Well, getting back to my relationship, first couple of years of our relationship was a little bit, I wouldn't say it was rocky, because she was gone a lot of the time. We didn't have a lot of time to get into arguments about various things, and she speaks reasonably good English, but there was that issue. What did you say? What did you say? I thought you said this. And no, I didn't say that. So that was that communication challenge. But I changed one day. Over a fairly short period of time. She said once to me, she said, "You get upset so quickly," and she told me that, and I thought about that. And, yeah, I do. I did. I was, because I would show her. I think in my senior years, when you're younger, you may have a little more patience. Show her certain ways you want things done, and then it might or might not happen. Then you get a little frustrated if you have to tell them 2 or 3 different times. And anyway, I changed my attitude, and I started appreciating her more. And you can do that. You can be angry about your life, about your choices, about your finances, your relationship. You can change your attitude, and your attitude makes a whole big difference on if you're happy or not, obviously. Not just your mental health, but your physical health. has a major effect on your physical health. And that would be a video for somebody else for another time. And a couple other tips. One thing, I walk quite a bit, and I have a few scars to prove that I wasn't watching exactly where I should be watching the sidewalk. I've got no line bifocals, pretty strong, farsighted, and I don't see things. I'll run into these little cones, these orange cones they put up on sidewalks or in a mall to say, hey, there's a slippery spot. I won't see that because that's my reading part of my lower lens. Unless I'm turning my head down, I don't see a lot of things, and I tend to trip over things way too easily. My girlfriend has told me, look where you're going. You're running into things, tripping over things. And the sidewalks, right here, they're not bad at all, but you go down a lot of these sidewalks, they're a bit of an obstacle course. There will be an old pipe cut off a couple inches above the sidewalk, or there will be a brick sticking up, something else, wires hanging down from these overhanging wires. They've done a lot. They've taken a lot of those down over the last couple of years, but still a lot of them. But it's an obstacle course. And then if it rains, if there's wet, if somebody's throwing some water, they've washed some stuff, some restaurant, and they throw the water out, gets the sidewalk wet. Some of these surfaces very, very, very slippery, and it's easy to go down. And I suggest that you get a good pair of deck shoes. Deck shoes meant for being on boats that are slippery are probably the best bet. Something with a good sole. And I bought a pair, Decathlon, new sporting goods store here at SM Mall. Bought a pretty good pair of walking shoes, and they got a pretty good sole, but still there's some of these different types of surfaces, if they're wet, man, you just feel you think you're on solid ground, and the next minute you think your feet are going to go out from under you. So if you're a big man or lady, you might want to bring clothes here. You can order from someplace in the U.S. like Amazon. If your order, they won't ship everything here, but if your order is under $200, I think there's no custom fees generally. They won't ship everything here, but under $200, about 11,000 pesos. And I've checked a couple items that were over that, and yeah, by the time I paid the custom fees, it was too expensive, and I ended up ordering here in the Philippines instead. Anyway, transportation is cheap. Watch your head if you're getting into a jeepney or a tricycle. Other than that, hey, safe travels to you all, and I'll see you in the next video.